The reason for that is because there are numerous claimants around the world in different countries that claim to have the head of Al-Hussein ibn Ali radiallahu anhu. There's numerous claimants. Some in Iraq say that his head is based there. Some in Sham say his head is there. Other people say that the head is not there, it is in Egypt. There are numerous places. What we do know is that he was decapitated. That much we know. He was decapitated, he was martyred, that is true. But as far as saying that his location, the location of his head, that is under some dispute. Although a good portion of the historians say that it is stored in Sham. His body is buried in Iraq. The body of Al-Hussein is buried in Iraq. And there is a huge dariyah or marqad, a burial place that is based there. Imam Ibn Kathir, rahimahullah, in the same said passage that I quoted, states that, quote, all of what we have narrated here is in conformity with the historical principles of gathering information. It is not as the people of the Shia claim, in which people go around and they weep and slap their faces on this day. And they refuse to drink water because Al-Hussein radiallahu anhu was killed while being thirsty. And then the women will sometimes come out showing their faces and slapping their faces and their chests barefoot in the markets and screaming. This is from the innovation of the Shia and their wretched and despicable and bestial innovations. And it is despicable and unacceptable. And we tend by this the very people who are wicked. People like this, who show this type of wickedness, are unacceptable. Although we understand that it is intended that they are showing hatred for the government of the Bani Umayyah, because he was killed during their governance. He was killed during their governance. Imam Ibn al-Imad, rahimahullah, he then gives us a quote from Shadarat al-Dhahab, volume 1, pages 273 on. He says, year 61 of the Hijrah was the year in which, on the day of Ashura, Abu Abdullah Al-Hussein ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib, Sibt Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wa rayhanatihi, was martyred at Karbala. He was 56 years of age. The cause of that is that he refused to give bay'ah to Yazid when bay'ah was sought from him. There were a group of 4 along with others that refused so as well. And they stuck to their position. Al-Hussein, upon being killed by the head of the army at that time, Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad. Yes, they surely killed him. And along with him, they killed his sons Ali al-Akbar and Abdullah. They also killed his brothers, Ja'far, Muhammad, Atiq, Al-Abbas al-Akbar. They killed others from his family like Qasim ibn al-Hasan, and also the children of his uncle, Muhammad and Aoun, and also Abdullah ibn Ja'far. They also killed Muslim ibn Aqil ibn Abi Talib, and his 2 sons, Abdullah and Abdul Rahman. The basic point of all this is that when Yazid came to power and the oath of allegiance was given to him after that point, after the death of his father, then Yazid sent to the people that they should follow him and commanded Al-Walid ibn Utbah that bay'ah should be given to him. He sent word to Al-Hussein and Abdullah ibn al-Zubayr that they should do so. And they came and commanded this. at the heads of the people, but this was not returned to them, and they did not receive what they had sought. Close quote. Now this is very significant because Abdullah ibn Zubayr, Amirul Mu'mineen, radiyallahu anhu, we're going to be talking about him later. The ulama snatched power back from the Bani Umayyah. And for a period of time, Abdullah ibn Zubayr radiyallahu anhu and the ulama, they ruled. 3/4 of the ummah gave him bay'ah. And he ruled until he was martyred. And so you can start to see the governance going back and forth and the battles happening. The people know what they're supposed to be doing. The laymen know. And the scholars know. And you can start to see a structure developing, and you can start to see this battle developing between laymen who are ruling secularly and between the scholars who are being relegated and driven underground. The Imam Ibn al-Imad rahimahullah, he then says about this matter, he says, because he's quoting the discussion regarding the head of Al-Hussein. He says, quote, the authentic position according to some is that the blessed head of Al-Hussein is buried in Al-Baqi', next to his mother Fatima. The reason why is because it was sent from Sham by Yazid to Amr ibn Sa'id al-Ashdaq, and the head was wrapped and then it was buried. The ulama are clearly united upon the position that Ali fighting against those who differed with him was authentic and that he was the Imam of truth. And this is understood. Likewise, there is consensus on what Al-Hussein did when he resisted Yazid. There is consensus on Abdullah ibn Zubayr fighting against the rulership of the Bani Umayyah. And there is consensus on the people of Mecca and Medina fighting the Bani Umayyah. And there is consensus on Ibn al-Ash'ath, who is Abdul Rahman ibn Muhammad ibn al-Ash'ath ibn Qais al-Kindi. There is consensus on him and those with him from the most noble of the followers of the companions and the best of the Muslims in their fighting against Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf. Close quote. So what we're getting then from Imam ibn al-Imad is that there is consensus that what they did was right. There's no dispute about what the ulama did being correct, in which Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, in order to restore the order of the Khilafah, although Muawiyah had a point regarding the murder, but the truth, the strongest point of the truth was with Ali, because Ali was restoring order. The truth was with Al-Hussein when he went against Yazid. The truth was with Abdullah ibn Zubayr when 3/4 of the ummah gave him bay'ah, and he was called Amirul Mu'mineen. The truth was with Mecca and Medina when they resisted Bani Umayyah ruling them. And the truth was with the Tabi'een when they resisted Al-Hajjaj and they were decimated. The Tabi'een, a good portion of the Tabi'een, some say a fifth, some say a sixth, were annihilated. They were exterminated by Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf. He was a killer of Sahaba, a killer of ulama, and a killer of Tabi'een. And part of it has to do with the fact that whatever he was told to do to secure that the governors were able to hold on to the power base that they had, he was told to do it. And so if anyone resisted him, then he would take the strongest action possible. He once invited some scholars to speak to them about his character in the hope that they could reform matters. And he fed them haram meat without them knowing. And then he stood and said, now your supplications are powerless against me. And he began to move against the ulama and all ulama outside. Why? Because he knew the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that if one is traveling in the desert and He is moving along and glorifying and praising Allah with his hands raised to the sky, and his food is haram, his drink is haram, his clothes are haram, his livelihood is haram. How can his dua be accepted? This is a strong hadith. So when he fed them that haram food, he said, now your du'as are powerless to neutralize me. They cannot stop me. Now, further to this, Ibn al-Imad mentions another very important point. And it's a significant one because it is a disease here and in some other places. Ibn al-Imad, rahimahullah, he says in the same text, volume 1, page 276 on. He says, quote, the great majority of scholars hold the position of the permissibility of resisting and going against whoever resembles Yazid or Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf. They consider it permissible to rise up against every oppressor. And this has been clearly noted. And so rising up against any oppressor has been mentioned by Ibn Hazm and others, like in the case of the killing of Uthman, or the killing of Al-Hussein, or the day of the great fitna thereafter, the killing of Ibn al-Zubayr, and the ulama resisting Yazid, and the killing of Hussein, all have to do with resistance to oppression and wickedness. But this is the opposite of declaring la'na or holding a position such as that. Ibn al-Salah, who is Uthman ibn Abdul Rahman al-Kurdi, he says that the people regarding Yazid have three positions. The people have three positions regarding Yazid. One group loves him and shows allegiance towards him. Another group curses him and shows hatred towards him. And another group is in between that. They do not show love or allegiance to him, nor do they curse him. And Ibn Hazm said that this position, it is the correct one. This position is what most befits the believers and matches with the rules and conduct of the principles of the revealed law. Further to this, after Ibn Hazm's statement, I say that I don't believe that the first category of people who love Yazid and show allegiance to him, as far as I know, they don't exist today in any general form. What has been mentioned from the murder of Al-Hussein and those who moved against him, everyone knows that what was done amounts to sheer apostasy and the removal of Iman from the hearts of people because of the wickedness that resulted. The denial of the family of the Prophet and greater and more horrible things besides that. Glorified is the one who preserved the revealed law that day, strengthened its pillars until their governance of the Bani Umayyah was annihilated. Yes, their annihilation of themselves and their rulers was by the Ahlul Bayt, based upon the statement of the Prophet ﷺ where he mentioned them falling into disarray, saying, my ummah shall suffer destruction at the hands of ignorant youth from the Quraysh. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu used to say, if I wanted to, I could say, the tribe of such and such and the tribe of such and such, they should have done this and similar things. But I have not said that. After the statement of Abu Hurairah, I say that there is a statement as well from Ad-Daraqutni, who he mentioned that Yazid ibn Muawiyah did meet